Okay, good evening. I hope you find this an interesting subject. You're probably wondering, what the hell is a martini glass? Well, it's an unusual shape. It's that of a cone. And one of the interesting things is the volume of the cone, and of course, the martini glass. So the question is, when is the glass half full? Is it at the 50% level, the 60% level, 70, 80, 90? What do you reckon? Does it depend on the angle? In other words, 50% at one angle will be less than on another angle, etc. So, what do you reckon, guys? What do you think is the level, if you had to guess? Don't calculate it, just guess, just by looking at the glass. Tell me, when is the glass half full? All right, so a lot of people obviously realize that it's not going to be exactly half, it's going to be more because of the shape, the cone. But how much more is the real question? I'll give you a clue, it's quite deceptive. So let's have a look at this. If we've got some choices here, and there was quite a few people that were sort of quizzed on this as a poll, and it's quite interesting that a lot of people didn't get it right, basically, but quite a few did get it right, and they most likely got it right because they did calculate it, unfortunately. But the guess part of it is very difficult to do. There was 100,000 people that were sort of voted on this, and apparently 8% said 60%, 60% said 70%, which sort of looks right, doesn't it? And the correct answer is the 80% height, and only 28% of people got that. Now, it probably isn't really 28% because they probably calculated it. But nevertheless, it's not a natural thing that you would look at. You know, you'd think that it's less. Now, the other thing is 90%, only 3% got. I must admit, I said 90%. Anyway, 50% is only 12.5% full. Amazing, isn't it? So effectively, you can put another 8 glasses in there to make a full glass. So if you're buying a martini in a bar and it's half full by visual sights, it's really 12.5%. So you're really getting scammed. Now 70% is 34, still quite short. You can have 3 extra glasses there, and 80% is just over 50% full. So there we go. 80% height is just over 50% full. Now, it's interesting, isn't it? 90% height is 72%, 73% full. So you can virtually fill another quarter of a glass in there. As you can see, martini glasses are very deceptive. Maybe that's why they're being used for cocktails. It's the shape of the cone. A lot of people get a almost full glass, but it's not. It's a quarter less. You're paying for the glass, but you're not getting the drink. Now let's have a look at the math behind it and how we can actually know the exact figure. Essentially, it's a cone, and the formula for the cone, the volume of it, is a third pi r squared times the height. Now, we can have another cone inside that cone, same formula, but just let's change the variables. Essentially what we're doing, we're creating some equations here, and we're creating a common ratio between the two triangles. In other words, we've got the big triangle, and then we've got a smaller triangle. Big triangle is when the glass is full, essentially the sort of top of the cone, and then we've got an arbitrary size somewhere in the middle, and that's the smaller triangle. if we actually produce all the equations, we can solve for the volume and where it is specifically 50% full. We can also, by having the equation, generate a graph so we can actually see the ratios and how that glass is actually being filled up, or the cone is being filled up. So here's the maths. We can cancel some terms and simplify it, and in the end it's all reduced to a little equation. A big shout out to Presh Talwalkar. He has a YouTube channel called Mind Your Decisions. Please visit him. It's a fantastic channel. It's got all sorts of maths puzzles and interesting information, and I highly recommend it. You can get the description in the credits. You'll probably find his YouTube site. So here's the final equation. We can now calculate the exact volume for 50% of the height. %50 of the volume equals the percentage height cubed. So we've got to solve for x. And x is 0.794, which is 79.4% of the height. That's it, folks. It's quite easy when you can work it out. So this is the relationship, and as you can see, very deceptive. Be careful when you go to a bar. Insist that you get a full glass of the drink. Anything less than full, you're getting scammed. Interesting, isn't it? Well, that's the science behind the Martini glass. I hope you enjoy this. Not exactly electronics, but nevertheless a little bit of math and knowledge is always useful.